Your phone is at 3%. You already know the feeling, that weird panic in your chest, that scan around the room for an outlet, that decision to skip the group chat, ignore the notifications, dim the screen. Also, a small rectangle of chemistry in your pocket keeps humming for another hour. That rectangle is a battery, and it is doing something that would have looked like a miracle 200 years ago. It is holding lightning in a cage. The battery is one of those inventions that hides in plain sight. Nobody makes documentaries about it. Nobody names their kid Alessandro, but almost every device you love, every EV on the freeway, every pair of AirPods, every laptop, every drone, every pacemaker runs on the same basic idea a scientist worked out with a stack of metal discs and some wet cardboard. This is the story of that idea, the story of how humans learned to store lightning. For most of history, electricity was a party trick. Rub some amber on a piece of wool, feel the tingle, marvel. That was it. In the 1700s, scientists built machines that could crackle and spark and shock a room full of aristocrats holding hands. They stored little bursts of charge in glass jars called Leyden jars. Big flashes, big noise, no use. Because a Leyden jar dumped everything at once. One shock, done. It was like trying to power a city with a firework. What civilization needed was a source of electricity that flowed. Steady, reliable, on demand. The way a river flows, not the way lightning flashes. Without that, everything downstream, every motor, every light bulb, every radio, every phone was impossible. Electricity had energy, it just could not be stored or controlled. The whole electric age was jammed against this one missing piece. And in 1799, an Italian physicist named Alessandro Volta finally pried it loose. But to get there, we have to talk about frog legs. Luigi Galvani was a biologist in Bologna. In the 1780s, he was doing what biologists did back then, which was cutting up dead frogs and poking them with metal. One day, he touched two different metals to a frog's leg at the same time, and the leg twitched. Not a little twitch, a real obvious kick from a very dead frog. Galvani thought he had discovered the secret of life. He called it animal electricity. He believed muscles and nerves generated their own current, and the metals just let it out. He was wrong, but he was interestingly wrong, which is the best kind of wrong in science. Alessandro Volta, a rival scientist up in Como, read Galvani's paper and said, "Hold on." He suspected the frog leg was not the source of the electricity. He suspected the two different metals were, and he set out to prove it. Volta stacked discs of zinc and copper, separated by cardboard soaked in salt water. Just a pile. He connected a wire from the top to the bottom, and electricity flowed. Not a flash, a steady current. For hours. From a stack of metal and cardboard, quietly humming on his desk, he had built the first battery. The world called it the voltaic pile. It was 1799. Everything electric that came after, every wire, every circuit, every device you own, traces back to that pile of discs. Napoleon was so impressed he made Volta a count, which is a solid promotion for stacking wet cardboard. Okay, so how does the thing in your pocket actually work? A battery is a chemical trick. Every battery has two ends, a positive side and a negative side, with a chemical goop between them called the electrolyte. That is the whole design. Two electrodes, one electrolyte. That is it. Here's the trick. Inside the battery, chemical reactions want to happen. Atoms on the negative side want to give up their electrons. Atoms on the positive side want to grab them. But those electrons cannot travel through the electrolyte in the middle. They are stuck, impatient. So you give them a shortcut. You connect a wire from the negative side to the positive side, through your phone or your car or your headphones. Now the electrons have a path. They rush along the wire, all in the same direction, all together. That flow of electrons, that river of tiny particles moving in a straight line,
is electricity. The battery is not making energy, it is releasing energy that was already loaded into those chemicals, like a stretched spring letting go, slowly, in a controlled way. When the chemicals run out, the battery is dead. When you plug it in, you use outside electricity to shove everything back into place, reloading the spring. That is charging. Volta's original design used zinc and copper. Modern batteries use fancier chemistry. But the basic idea, two metals, one goopy middle, a controlled flow of electrons, has not changed in over 200 years. For most of that time, batteries were kind of terrible. Heavy, slow to charge, they died fast, they leaked. Your grandparents remember flashlights that lasted about 20 minutes and remotes that ate AA's like popcorn. Every device you owned was on a leash. Camcorders were bricks. Early laptops needed their own wheeled suitcase. The word portable was doing a lot of lying. Then, in the 1980s, a chemist named John Goodenough at Oxford had an idea. What if you built a battery out of lithium? Lithium is the lightest metal on the periodic table. Small, eager to give up its electrons, capable of holding a lot of energy in a very small package. On paper, perfect. In practice, terrifying. Early lithium batteries had a habit of catching fire.
Goodenough and a team of scientists across 3 continents spent years figuring out how to make lithium behave. Different materials for the electrodes, different electrolytes, different structures that let lithium ions shuttle back and forth without the whole thing turning into a candle. By the early 1990s, they had it. The lithium-ion battery. Light, rechargeable hundreds of times, packed with energy per gram. Sony put the first commercial one in a camcorder in 1991. And then, quietly, over the next 30 years, everything changed. The Walkman got smaller, cell phones got smaller, laptops got usable. The iPod happened, the smartphone happened, cordless power tools, Bluetooth speakers, vape pens, drones, robot vacuums. The entire wireless, take-it-with-you, streaming, scrolling, always-on world you were born into runs on that one chemistry. You are holding a voltaic pile in your pocket right now, just a very fancy one. Every time you complain about your phone dying, you are experiencing the sharp end of a 200-year problem humans just barely solved. Enough to make it hurt when it fails, not enough to make it not fail. Here is where it gets serious. Everything about the next 50 years, the climate, transportation, the grid, the way cities work, comes down to one question. Can we make batteries better? Solar panels and wind turbines produce electricity when the sun shines and the wind blows. That is not the same as when you need it. To run a country on renewables, you have to store the extra energy from a sunny afternoon and release it during a still Tuesday night in February. That means batteries. Bigger, cheaper, longer-lasting batteries than anything that exists yet. Electric cars are running the same race. The reason you get range anxiety is not the motor. Motors are easy. It is the battery. How much energy can you cram into a pack that fits in a car, does not weigh 3 tons, does not cost a fortune, and does not lose capacity every year? The country that builds the best batteries will build the future. Grid storage, EVs, drones, robots, defense, space, all of it. Whoever wins the battery race wins a huge slice of the 21st century. Right now, engineers are chasing solid-state batteries that swap the liquid electrolyte for a solid material. Longer life, faster charging, less chance of catching fire.
Others are working on sodium-ion, which uses cheaper, more common materials. Some are pushing toward chemistries that could triple what lithium-ion can do. None of it feels dramatic. There are no explosions, no moon landings, just chemists and engineers in labs tweaking recipes, building the quiet foundation the entire century is going to sit on top of. Across everything we've covered in this series, the same pattern keeps showing up. A stubborn person notices something the world called normal. They refuse to accept it. They spend years, decades, sometimes their whole lives wrestling with a problem no one else thinks is a problem. And then one day, the world tips. Suddenly, nobody remembers what life was like before. The printing press turned information from a private treasure into a shared thing. The light bulb pulled us out of the dark. The telephone shrank the distance between voices. Penicillin took death off the table for infections that had killed people for thousands of years. The battery does something quieter. It sets energy free from the wall. It untethers you from the outlet. It puts the entire electric age in your pocket, in your car, in the sky above your head as a drone hums past. Every breakthrough in this series was somebody, somewhere, refusing to accept a limit. That the mold on the petri dish had to be an accident. That the frog leg twitching had to be alive. That paper had to be copied by hand. That the night had to be dark. You are surrounded right now by the results of that refusal. Look up from this video for a second. Every glowing screen, every soft click of an appliance, every wire in your wall, every silent electric car passing on the street, every ordinary thing. None of it is ordinary. All of it is somebody's impossible idea, cooled to room temperature and handed to you like it was always there. That is the pattern. That is breakthrough. That is what these small, silent objects humming in your pocket actually mean. You are living inside a stack of miracles somebody decided to build, and the next one is already being figured out by someone you have never heard of, in a lab you will never see, working on a problem the world does not know it has yet. That is Neural Feed. Thanks for spending this series with me. See you at the next impossible thing.